Chapter 2. So there I am caught staring like Frontier Noobtard on his first trip to a core world. To make matters worse, this is no little AP plasma mine, this is a monkey-molesting anti-armor, anti-ship bugger. I barely manage to rift jump back to the little crystal in the storeroom, and as I arrive I find the room is now pitch black, and shaking like an unshielded shuttle. After valiantly dispatching a set of shelves that I swear tried to jump me, I click on my night vision and lean against the wall. This sure as Zord wasn't what I thought my first mission would be like. I came in thinking I was going up against a group of crazy people who like animals a little too much, and I get bad dudes with heavy military tech or better depending on the planet's military. I take a moment to argue myself into continuing the mission. Common sense voice in my head, crazy guy. If you keep going you're going to die. Honorable voice in my head, we can't abandon a damsel in distress to these monsters. They might be cool bad dudes in terms of fighting, but we don't know what they might do to her. Lonely, mostly ignored voice in my head, she might be hot and grateful and you will hate yourself more than you already do if you let her die. My own voice to the ones in my head, I don't remember hating myself, but fine, I'll go risk my life to rescue some random corporate chick who will probably try and sue me for sexual harassment or something, because who wants to live forever? Bolstered by my inner dialogue, I open the door and almost get pulled off my feet as the room suddenly drops in air pressure, cueing me in on the fact that the explosion from the plasma mine has opened the facility to the outside atmosphere. Cursing bad dude terrorists everywhere, I pull up my map in my helmet and discover that I have to go back outside to get around the pressure doors that have dropped between me and the second place I figure they are holding the hostage chick. In a not shocking turn of events, as soon as I make my way back out through the hole in the observation room and start looking for a way back into the installation, another pair of dudes wielding a pair of large glowing guns open up on me from the mountainside that the installation is built into. Thank the great goat in the sky for rift jumps, because the two glancing hits I take knock my shield power down to 20%. Staring at the guns as my rift cutter is descending through the first dude triggers a flashback. The most common infantry equipment in the Empire are as follows: Stone Drake drones on. Slug throwers. This is a space version of a gun, they work like a firearm, gun, and they shoot bullets or slugs of hard heavy material propelled by an explosion or a small rocket engine. These work well on normal targets, but do very poorly against shields. Plasma weapons. Also called plasma pistol, plasma cannon, plasma repeater and plasma rifle. This is a term for a range of weapons that work by superheating a blob of material super hot, then firing the blob at the target. Plasma pistols are small one-handed weapons, repeaters are a large rapid-fire variant, etc. These plasma weapons are expensive, require special power cells, and are hard to maintain, but plasma weapons work well against armor and shields. Rift Cutter. This is a close-quarters melee weapon only used by Star Knights. It is like an energy blade, but instead of cutting things with heat, the Rift Cutter teleports slices of the things it cuts away. The handle of a Rift Cutter can change shape, so it can adapt to the various combat styles of the wielder. Whips are discouraged due to the amount of friendly fire slicing incidents. A Star Knight needs to have physical contact with the Rift Blade for it to work, since it uses the Star Knight's jumping power to work. The Rift Cutter, if turned onto unsafe mode, will pass right through any shield, making it the best weapon to use on shielded opponents. Personal shields. Also just called shields. These shields come in various forms, from small glove or waist bag size units, to more powerful vest or backpack units. They all project clear protective bubbles of exotic matter around their users. Most shields are tuned to be one way so they can be fired through without problems. Shields work against all known forms of attacks, with the exception of Rift Cutters. I snap back to reality as my Rift Cutter finishes slicing through the first dude. The dude with the repeater loses his head first, and the dude with the plasma cannon drops his large unwieldy weapon and nails me with his backup slug thrower a half dozen times, which barely tickles my shield, before I can acquaint him with the pointy end of my Rift Blade. Not even bothering to try the two heavy plasma weapons, I rift jump to the point where I can jump through a viewport into a habitation room and start heading to the room that looks like it was designed for ambushes. This room has a support pillar right in the middle of the room with elevated catwalks running around 3 of the room's sides. I'm kind of surprised that the hostage chick is tied to the support, or at least there's a person with long red hair and an extremely dirty and torn business suit with a decent figure. For some strange reason, the picture of the chick that they gave with the briefing showed her with a pair of high-tech blue goggles on. But the chick tied to the support has the right color of hair and it's currently covering her face. I didn't run into any opposition on the way here, so instead of just busting in, I had decided to take a look inside before charging in. I scan around the room for more threats, looking through the little fiber optic snake. I'm poking through a hole I made in an adjoining wall. The worst part is she doesn't appear to have any type of protective suit to protect her from the atmosphere or even an air mask, so it's gonna have to be a straight jump back to my blade, and what's worse, I need skin-to-skin contact or have us both be contained in a shield if I want to rift jump with another person. That means I'll have to do a bear jump, meaning I won't have a nice shield between me and whatever stuff lives in the place I go through when I rift jump. Now I'm buff when it comes to rift jumping, so I won't get stuck in rift space like some people that haven't been heard from again, but it hurts like crazy, though I only feel the pain, not the people I bring with me. To illustrate the dangers of doing a bear jump, I've got 3 of what look like claw/scars running halfway across my chest, and they just appeared the last time I tried it. Not wounds or cuts, just the marks. Boy, did those scars ever sting when they appeared. Well, I think to myself, I could go get my blade and bust in here, but no, she doesn't have a protective suit. I could jump back and grab my spare emergency suit. The hostage chick is about the same height. It might be a little tight across the chest, but might work. And, just what do we have going on here? My inner musings are broken when I see a big group of bad dudes walk in, and the guys hiding in the room leave their ambush spots and all walk together into the middle of the room and gather in front of the hostage chick. A dude I assume is some sort of boss man starts giving orders out loud and in code. The boss is dressed like the others, except he has 4 red symbols on his emblem. I stare at the symbol and try to trigger a flashback, but no dice. The boss dude finishes giving the other terrorist guys some sort of orders, then starts making get-it hand motions. Suddenly, one of the dudes points at the hostage chick and says something. The dude I assume is in charge pulls out a slug thrower and points it at the hostage chick's head in a very matter-of-fact way. "Ozort, you don't," I say as I rift jump between the boss dude and the chick, getting myself promptly shot in the face. Looking down the barrel of a slug thrower when it fires isn't as exciting as one would think. The bullet just smacks into my still-functioning shield and is accompanied by a flash and a loud bang. When I had been peering at the room, my rift cutter had been held scythe form with the shaft pressed against my back as the scythe blade hung down, and with a quick diagonal slash from below I turned the officer man into 2 leaky halves with a quick flick of my wrist. Boy, am I glad shields keep out blood as he comes apart like a red-filled balloon. Of course, that still leaves me with a splitting headache, a room full of pissed-off bad dudes, and one completely helpless hostage. I drop my shield, spin around, pop open my helmet with a carefully chosen voice command, slap my face against the hostages, and perform a bear rift jump back to my Starblade miles away.